Hey, so real quick, so we all know, Meek Mills was recently released. Fortunately, rather fortunately, Meek Mills was recently released from, state prison after having served the unjust and unjustifiable conviction and later probation violation sentence in terms of for popping a willie in a video in New York City. The Philadelphia judge who's stupendously biased and overreaching in this case was intent on sending the young man, this black man, back to prison. But now he's released, so everybody has by now has heard his story and has been covered at length. That's my reason for this publication. Really ain't too much about Meek Mills being released. That's already widely covered. And praise be to God for the brother, because as we all know, he do a lot of good work, employing a lot of good brothers, getting to the bag. Got a lot of guys around him doing good things, and prior to his going back to prison, recently overcome opioid addiction. He had a small drug addiction, and he overcame that successfully without with the help of no institutions or without no help, no real programs and nothing like that. So that's commendable. So he was doing good things on a number of issues prior to going to prison. So and having went to prison. It was a lot of controversy and a lot of media coverage, rightfully so, for the dubious bias reflected upon the criminal justice system that we all at this point, know about, heard about, or is related and love someone who has been a victim to the system. So, as he came home now, he's been, pursuing efforts with a lot of the good guys around him, the owner of the 76ers, Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, a lot of weighty, figures in the media entertainment business alike, getting behind him, and people, Snoop has been, is in a good kind of way, is a real snowball effect and garnering support to consistently eradicate the unjust criminalization of black men. You know what I mean? And so he's going around, and speaking on the issues, using his influence and his reputation to try to effectuate some type of change. And I love him for it. Praise to God, for the brother, having that heart, because a lot of us or some stars and prominent figures, get out of prison and feel like they just out. They got to save their family and all, and their family, and that's it. But shout to Meek Mill. You feel me? He feeling like he can use his influence to effectuate change in the criminal justice system. And for those of us who don't know, the stats are widely publicated in terms of the over criminalization of black men. Now, what I want to speak about is this. So he was recently doing a press run. He was recently doing a press run, and he was on one of the shows, one of the finance media shows, where they talked about it primarily, thanks to, the 76ers owner. Him and Meek Mills is real good friends, using his influence to bust into a lot of these genres of media that Meek Mills probably couldn't have got his voice heard on. Don't get me wrong. I think Meek Mills would have had a tremendous platform to speak from, regardless, without the help of nobody. But it's indicative of the fact that Jay-Z, the 76ers owners, and a lot of other people is coming out, to behind him, coming to bear the weight of their influence, to this issue. And that's such a blessing. But this what I want. This what I want to warn guys of, right? It's a seemingly small matter, but when you observe it with a conscious mind, you got to be mindful of this. My point is this: so he was doing a press run. He was on the financial one of the financial news shows on MSNBC, CNBC, if I'm not mistaken. Right? And as the conversation was moving along, one of the commentators said, So basically, virtually, it's not about black or white. It's about just the criminal justice system being overly criminalizing minor crime offenses. And Meek Mill said, yes, no, that's not. It absolutely is about black and white. It absolutely is about black people. So my point is, my point is this: be conscious, guys, particularly when you reach the upper echelon of intellectual circles. White America will inevitably try to tell black people what their issues is. That's my point. They sought. It was a short and quick segment of the overall show, and a lot of issues was covered. A lot of commentary was committed to. The issue was edified eloquently, honest, and Meek Mill spoke remarkably and very impactfully. But it kind of baffled me a little bit that in 2018, you still have white America who will jump at the opportunity to tell you what your issues are. My point is this: again, the conversation was moving along, and one of the commentators said, so it's not about black or white. It's about overcriminalization of minor drug offenses. It's that too, but it's absolutely about black America. And I'm so at the point where we have to be mindful of fixing our issues with various other issues. It's not an urban matter. No, it's a black matter. Because if you black and you live in the suburbs or the rural area, you're gonna get the same treatment, or should I say, you're gonna get different treatment from a white convict in that same rural area. So it's a black or white issue. So be mindful when you get into these intellectual circles or into these conversations with these so-called upper echelon, minded white American people. You feel me? They will find the most innovative ways. You feel me? It's on the surface, it seems like it's innocent. It seems like it's just conversation in passing, but it's not. This stuff matter because they will take this same commentary and use it as record evidence as to exactly what the issues is. So again, Meek Mills said, that it's not about black or white, and I don't think he was really focused on that issue. He was going with his spiel, making his story the primary focus of the conversation, rightfully so. You feel me? That's the only way that he can move the conversation along. That's the only way he can effectuate change, if he used his situation as evidence. So quite naturally, he's not exuberantly focused on such a seemingly small aspect of the conversation. When the guy says, so it's not about black or white, it's about just the over criminalization of minor offenses. No, it's absolutely about black or white, because it's absolutely about black people. Because yeah, we talking about 400 years now. The criminal justice system, the over criminalization of black men is an extension of slavery, Jim Crow. And now the war on drugs. This is a variation of slavery. This is a variation of the marginalization of black men and black people by eradicating the black man and decimating the black community. So it's absolutely about blacks. So be mindful, guys, when especially when you speak in these circles. You feel me now? Don't get me wrong. We need our white brothers and sisters. We need our white cousins to partake in this conversation and the mobilization of these issues, because they care about these issues too. Injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, and a lot of white Americans understand that. So I don't want people to walk away from this video thinking that I'm saying that I'm trying to marginalize white Americans from this conversation. We need them. We need to partner with them, but not so much to the point where they get to dictate what the conversation is, or what the issues at hand is. So again, yeah, just be mindful, man. I'm saying, like the commentator, like, Like, yeah, it's not about black or white. Yes, it is, and they will be mindful of these landmines in these conversations, guys. When you covering these issues is so important. This is how the revolution starts. When I say the revolution, I mean the evolution of change starts. It starts with the conversation, and the important facts and issues must be pinned down aggressively, without fan or favor. We're not here to waver on what the issues is. It's about the marginalization, the over-criminalization of African-American men. It's been going on for 30 years, and Bill Clinton started. I'm gonna have a video on that too soon to educate y'all about that. You know, because in the past, without skipping the subject, without being all over the place on the subject, you know, it's been over the last 20 to 25 years, it's been a lot of hoopla in the black community about Bill Clinton was the best president. Bill Clinton wasn't the best shit. It's called the crime bill. Him and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton was the authors of the crime bill. The 1995 crime bill passed through Congress. The laws in which gave prosecutors and the federal government the rights to prosecute low-level drug offenders and wipe them down for sometimes life sentences for small amounts of crack cocaine. They was the authors. This was the epitome of the eradication of the black community over the last 30 years. A lot of time we don't understand. We think we look at the effects of things and don't realize they based in something that seemingly has nothing to do with nothing. But yes, so what I'm saying is you have a lot of why the community is the way they is, especially in my city and cities like Philadelphia, DC, where you see these young guys and these young brothers out here with no fathers and no uncles and no role model. This is why, because of the crime bill from I think it passed in 87 and went into effect. Excuse me, it passed in it was sitting in Congress since 87. It was, but it passed. It wound up being passed again. It wound up ultimately being voted on in 92, and went into law, if I'm not mistaken, in 95 under Bill Clinton. But that was an effort to eradicate these communities, our community, the black community. So now what you see is a lot of fathers, grandfathers, and uncles being stored away in these prison walls, behind these prison walls for 20, 30 years. Now their sons and their nephews is growing up, and this is what you're seeing. This is the effects on a lot of these city streets. These young guys without direction, without vision, without no type of role model to help them understand what the rules of the land is. So I know, I'm saying all this to say, I'm saying all this because I know people want to, why is he talking about all that from 95? Why is he going back so far? Yeah, this matter. It's the effects. We seeing the effects right before our eyes right now, these young brothers out here now without direction. So I said all that to say this, and in closing to say this. Man, when you're having these conversations particularly upon these media outlets and in these so-called intellectual circles, be mindful. Look out for these landmines, because these people will come back a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, and use these videos and these media outtakes as evidence as to what we saying issues are. No, the issue absolutely is black. It's not no urban matter. Yes, it affects the urban matter the most, the urban landscape the most, because that's where predominantly black people live and dwell. But it's a black issue, period. And it's an extension and a byproduct of slavery, Jim Crow, and the crime bill. Is the tool in which they use to effectuate slavery and Jim Crow. It's the new age slavery in terms of the over-criminalization or the marginalization of black men and boys, by sentencing, throwing us away in prison for seemingly minor offenses. I know guys in still in Fed prison with life right now for 5 grams of crack cocaine. Only white guys in prison. Only white guys in prison for life sentences is the mob or murderers. So it is absolute that comparison alone is representative of the fact it is black and white. Don't try to make something it's not black and white. They want to tell us what our issues is, and that's my spiel for the day, guys. Happy Friday. Subscribe, like, comment. DoggMan Radio. Trap the vote. Countdown to impeachment. BSS Volume 2 coming soon. Drop a comment in the comment section. If I said anything wrong, let me know.